All right, let's talk about the drama that had everyone gasping, because this wasn't just some petty argument between reality stars. No, this time it felt personal, deep, and honestly kind of tragic. The story of Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon had always looked picture perfect from the outside. She was bold and loud. He was calm and collected, a classic opposites attract situation. People admired their bond. But then everything started falling apart, and not slowly. It all crashed down at once. You won't believe how it all began. It started with whispers like it always does. Small things, a look here, a comment there. First, people didn't think much of it. But then Dr. Contessa, who used to be like a sister to Dr. Heavenly, came out with a storm. She didn't hint or play around. She made a direct hit. She said, Dr. Damon might not be the faithful husband everyone thought he was. That hit hard. But let me tell you, this is where it gets interesting. Contessa didn't just stop at that. She said there might be kids involved. Children with Dr. Damon's last name. Kids no one had ever seen or heard about. Now this wasn't just cheating gossip. This was a whole different level. We were no longer in the maybe it happened zone. This was something serious. Something that could shake the whole foundation of their relationship. And the crazy part, the moment this came out, people started connecting the dots. They remembered moments where Dr. Heavenly looked off, or where Dr. Damon seemed distant. Suddenly, all those small, weird moments started to make sense. But here's the shocking part. It didn't stop there. Just when the dust was starting to settle from that bombshell, in walked Dr. Mariah. And if you know her, you know she never shows up empty-handed. She brought the receipts. Not just rumors, not just he said, she said, actual proof. She said she had pictures, texts, maybe even voice notes. She walked right up to Dr. Heavenly and laid it out. And the reaction, total chaos. Dr. Heavenly didn't stay calm or try to reason. She snapped. She screamed. She even called security. That wasn't just panic. It looked like fear. And this made everyone ask the same question. If there was nothing going on, why react like that? Why lose control? It felt like something was hitting too close to home. And that's when people started wondering. Maybe there was some truth to what Mariah and Contessa were saying. Maybe Dr. Heavenly had been hiding something all along. But this is where the story really started to twist, because after that intense scene, Contessa dropped another piece of the puzzle. She said, Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon hadn't been sleeping in the same room for months, that they were living in the same house but in separate bedrooms. That hit differently. People tried to act like it was no big deal. Maybe they just had different schedules. But we all knew that's not normal. That's not what a happy marriage looks like. And still, Dr. Heavenly kept saying everything was fine. But her face, her voice, her eyes, none of it matched her words. She laughed it off, but the laugh didn't sound real. She kept saying, people talk too much. But she wasn't giving any clear answers. Her actions were screaming louder than her words, and people weren't buying the act anymore. After the whole bedroom separation reveal, fans were already shaken. But it was Sweet Tea, a cast member who usually kept to herself, who casually dropped another spark into this fire. In the middle of a lighthearted chat, she mentioned seeing Dr. Damon at a restaurant late at night with another woman. And this wasn't just some business meeting. She said it looked personal, like very personal. And when the others reacted, Sweet Tea didn't backtrack. She stood by it. She said what she saw was not friendly. It was intimate. So everyone turned to Dr. Heavenly for a reaction. And you'd expect fire, right? Denial, anger, something. But no. She laughed, a quiet, awkward laugh, and said, people will talk. That was it. No defense. No, that's not true. Just silence. And in that moment, it wasn't what she said. It was what she didn't say. That silence spoke louder than a scream. Everyone in the room felt it. Something wasn't right. Let me tell you, this is how people started putting two and two together. The sleeping apart, the public sighting, the silence, it was all adding up, and it wasn't looking good. And the pressure on Dr. Heavenly kept building. She tried to keep smiling. She tried to carry on like everything was normal. But every time someone brought up Dr. Damon's name, her whole energy shifted. Her voice would get shaky. Her eyes would dart around. It was like she was waiting for the next bomb to drop. And oh, it dropped. Mariah wasn't done. She came back with something no one expected. She pulled out a birth certificate, and there it was. Dr. Damon's full name printed clearly next to a child's. A child no one had ever heard of. The room froze. You could feel the air get heavy. People didn't even know what to say. No yelling, no questions, just shock. And Dr. R. Heavenly, she didn't even try to fight it this time. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stood there frozen like everything around her had just collapsed. And in that silence everything changed. This wasn't gossip anymore. This wasn't some TV drama storyline. This was a woman facing a truth that she had been running from for a long time. A truth that maybe deep down she already knew. And everyone watching. We knew too. We knew that something real had just broken after that moment. Dr. Heavenly went quiet on social media. No cute couple photos, no motivational quotes, just silence. And let me tell you, for someone who lives online, that silence was loud. Her fans were confused, her haters were celebrating, and her friends, most of them didn't know where they stood anymore. Even her closest allies were pulling back. Everyone was asking the same question. Was she really blindsided, or was she just trying to cover it up this whole time? And then, as if the universe wasn't done dragging her, old footage started resurfacing. Clips where Dr. Damon had slipped up in small ways, conversations where he seemed distracted, nights he didn't come home, vague comments that didn't make sense back then. But now they hit different. Fans became detectives. Everyone was rewatching episodes, reading body language, comparing timelines. And let me tell you, people were finding things that made you stop and say, wait, how did we not notice this before? But here's the part that hit hardest. Dr. Heavenly wasn't just losing her image. She was losing her support system. People who once defended her now stayed quiet. At one point, even her daughter posted something cryptic online talking about knowing your worth and not staying where you're not respected. It didn't take long before people linked that post to the drama at home. And it felt like everyone around Dr. Heavenly was starting to face their own truths too. The show wasn't just exposing a scandal. It was unraveling a whole life. Let me tell you what makes this story different. It's not just the betrayal. It's not just the cheating or the secret child. It's watching someone who built their whole brand on being strong, outspoken, and unshakable start to break. And not in a loud dramatic way, but in quiet moments, in the way she avoided eye contact, in how she stopped talking about her husband altogether, in how she started talking more about healing and moving on without ever saying why. And just when you thought the story might slow down, it didn't, because there was still one thing left to reveal. And trust me, you won't believe what came next. She started slow. Her tone was calm, but there was something in her eyes, a kind of tiredness, not just physical, it was emotional. She said she had taken time to process and that she wasn't going to feed into the lies, but she didn't deny them either. She didn't say, "This is false." She didn't say, "He didn't do it." She danced around the details like they burned her lips. And everyone watching could see it. This was a woman trying to protect herself. Maybe still trying to protect him too. But then she said something that changed the tone completely. She said, "Sometimes the person you build with isn't the person you're meant to finish with." That line hit like a punch. That wasn't about rumors. That wasn't about damage control. That was about acceptance. That was a quiet goodbye to a story she'd been fighting to keep alive. And just like that, it all made sense. The silence, the panic, the hesitation. She wasn't in denial. She was grieving. And this is where it gets interesting, because after that live, people didn't just feel sorry for her. They respected her. The same audience that had been dragging her online started saying things like, "She's human. She was blindsided. She didn't deserve this." That was the twist no one saw coming. The same crowd that had been counting her flaws started seeing her pain. And slowly the narrative shifted. But here's the craziest part. Dr. Damon still hadn't said a word. No statement, no interview, nothing. Just silence. And that silence, it said everything. The man at the center of it all. The one whose name was on the birth certificate, whose face had been seen in all the wrong places. He disappeared from the spotlight like smoke in the wind. And that left people wondering, was he guilty? Or was he just too ashamed to face what he had caused? In the end, Dr. Heavenly didn't confirm every detail. She didn't point fingers. She didn't give the audience the messy breakdown they might have wanted. But she gave something better. Truth in her silence. She didn't need to say it all. We already knew. And maybe so did she. So now the question isn't what happened. We saw enough to figure that out. The real question is what happens next. Can Dr. Heavenly rebuild herself?